All right, welcome everyone to our 5th online chess lesson. This is Robert Jamieson, and today I have with me Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca.
Hi, Robert.
So we normally start off by finding a little bit about you. So how old are you?
I'm 12, okay. 13 in August.
13 in August, something to look forward to. And which school do you go to?
I go to Flinders Christian College.
And your rating is?
Not sure.
Not sure? Okay. And you very daring, you went up with the squad to Ballarat on the weekend. How'd you go at Ballarat?
Good. I got 2 points out of 7.
All right, that's not too bad. Excellent. All right, well, we'll get back to Rebecca shortly. Quick apologies for last week. I understand we were off air for a minute or two at some stage last week, so we hope we're going to get through this week without any technical problems. But if there are problems, hang in there and hopefully they'll be quickly resolved.
And don't forget that the recordings are all online as well, so if you miss anything or you miss a word or two or your internet connection drops out, jump onto the internet and watch those recordings. It's even a good idea just to review those at some stage and listen to everything a second time. Okay.
All right. Well, we have today to start off a little position from one of Lachlan's games in Ballarat. And it was very noticeable when I went through your games afterwards that a lot of the players weren't looking at enough candidate moves. They'd be like in a difficult position and they might look at 2 ways out and not find a solution and play one of the moves and it wasn't any good. Whereas if they look a bit harder and found 3 or 4 ways, they might have found a way out. So we're going to have a little poll. How many ways you've found for Lachlan to avoid immediate loss? So I'm going to launch the poll now. You can choose between 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. So when David found 10, he was probably exaggerating slightly. So I'll launch the poll. Here we go. So everyone start voting. How many moves do you reckon White has to get out of immediate mate? 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. 5 is at the lead at the moment, but everyone's got votes. 5 is still in the lead. Coming second are 2 and 3. All right, give you another couple of seconds, we'll close the poll. So if you all voted, all right, let's close the poll. Let's have a look at the results. So 5 is the most popular with 47%. 7% say 6. 13% say 4. 13% say 3. 20% say 2. Rebecca didn't get to vote. What would you have voted for, Rebecca?
Probably 5.
5, okay. Sounds pretty popular. All right. Well, on the screen now you have 6 ways out. G3, G4, Rook E1, Queen G4, and Knight G5, and Queen F3. Which one of them would be the best one? That was the second question I asked. Did you have any preferences as to which was the best way out?
I would probably say Knight G5.
Well done. All right, Knight G5 was probably the best move, and then if Queen takes the Knight, you can take the Bishop, and you're not checkmated anymore. If the Queen doesn't take the Knight, you can drop the Knight back to H3 and get out of the mate. Unfortunately, Lachlan thought there were 6 ways out, and he played Queen F3, which was a bit tragic after Bishop checks with mate next move. Yeah. All right, so that was a real pity, but that's just an example for you guys that if you're in strife, look at lots of candidate moves. Even if they look silly on the surface, it's worth having a look a bit deeper. All right, so let's go into today's game. So we'll load. We've got 2 games here. Whether we have time to get through both or not, not sure, but we'll go fairly quickly. All right, so this was a game against William Maligan. Is William with us today? I can't see him online at the moment, so maybe he's not here today. Right, you were white, okay, and it started off in a very boring fashion where everyone puts out their knights, and then you ripped out your bishop to c4, and then he hit you with knight takes e4. Is that a move you played against before, or was that a surprise move?
I've played against it about 2 or 3 times. I've never really
You haven't found a good way to beat us?
Not really.
Okay. Well, I think we had this in one of our earlier lectures. It might have been Zoe's one. I'm not sure. But there are three possibilities we could look at. Bishop takes f7 check, which is what you did. In the game we had a week or two ago, I think we looked at knight takes d5, bishop d3, takes, bishop takes, and we thought white was going okay there. He sort of consolidated the centre a little bit. That wasn't too bad. All right, let's go back. Now, surprisingly, my computer wants to play castles, make it into a sacrifice. I bet you didn't think of that one.
No.
No, okay. Well, let's have a quick look, because next time you face this, maybe you can play the castle move. So, what say black takes your knight, you take back to the d pawn. Now the question is, what is black to do? So if, for instance, he plays d6, can you see a good attacking move for white? The double attack going, you've got your bishop in a good spot. What could you play? Knight g5 maybe?
Yeah.
And you've got double attack going on that f pawn, which looks pretty strong. Alright, so that would be good. So maybe black can't play d6, maybe he can play bishop e7, but then we rip in queen d5, threatening mate, so he'll probably castle, and now you just take his e-pawn, you got your pawn back, and everything's nice and cozy. Your castle, you got your pieces out, that's all cool. Alright, so next time, when you're playing William or someone else and they rip this in, have a think about just castles and making it a gambit on your part.
Yeah.
Alright, but what we went for bishop check, so that means he can't castle, but unfortunately it gives him a bit of the centre. Yeah. He's got the two pawns abreast, the famous things that I've been talking about just about every week, two pawns side by side in the centre.
Yeah.
Okay, now your knight's attacked, so you've got to move it. Where do you reckon you should put it?
Well, I know in the game I played g5.
5. Is that the best one?
I think maybe it would have been better to play c3.
Yeah, I think you could drop it back maybe to g3, perhaps c3, perhaps g3 is the best. But in the game, you went for the check. That's the thrill of checking. He went and hid. You played d3, which looks all right. And now the problem comes. He chases your knight back. Your knight goes back to a pretty horrible square. And then he can take, and that stuffs up all your pawns and your kingside castling, and he's still got control center. So that didn't work out too well, did it? No. No, that wasn't the greatest, but never mind. We'll see how we go. He played queen d7, attacking the pawn. So you push the pawn to try and hang on to it. And he played rook e8. So already we're in a bit of strife because he's got his rook lined up with our king. He's probably going to play e4, try and get a discovered check going. And we can't really castle kingside because it's horribly airy over there. We've only got one piece developed. So what did you think we could do here?
Well, first I thought I would try and develop a piece. Therefore I thought, well, it probably wouldn't be developed for very long. But my main idea was wanting to castle and get my king safe, not in the middle of the board.
Yeah, you're in big danger at the moment. So you came up with an interesting move. You went back again.
Yeah, because I was afraid of e4.
Well, that means if he plays e4 now, you can block it with d4, and it's a bit closed, and you might get a chance to castle queenside if you're lucky. Yeah. So it looks a bit silly, but maybe it's not too bad. All right. He went queen f7. Now, what candidate moves did you look at here? Can you remember?
I don't really remember, but I was mainly trying to get rid of the queen from that square to, like, try and get a bit of attack on the king with my queen, like, to go f3 and start attacking on d5.
So you're thinking about attacking him, or he's thinking about attacking you?
At the moment, he's thinking of attacking me, but I really want to attack him more.
Okay. All right, silly question. Why is your brain thinking about attacking in this position? Aren't you on the defensive? You've got no pieces developed. Your king shot is all shattered. Shouldn't you be thinking about defending?
Yeah, but I don't know. I want him to get his king.
Okay.
Stuck.
I think this is one of the problems that a lot of juniors have, is that they sort of work out in their brain what they'd like to do, and even if the position on the board's totally different, and they shouldn't be doing that, they still try and do it. Like they might want to attack or check or swap off or stuff like that. Yeah. So we've got to discipline ourselves to do what is showing on the board. Okay. Now, do you remember the move you came up with?
No.
You played a developing move, bishop e3. All right. Is there any other move you should perhaps have a look at? If you had your time again, what other moves would you have a look at? Do you want a castle queen side?
Maybe queen g4.
Queen g4. That doesn't look like too bad a spot and gets the queen out of the road. And any other move?
Not really.
All right. Well, what about? Well, you play bishop e3. Right. I quite like the look of queen f3. Now, why would that be an okay move?
Because it's attacking the queen.
That's queen for queen, so that's not really an attack.
But and it's getting rid of a pretty powerful piece off the board.
Yeah, well, he's attacking you.
Into a bad position.
Yeah, he's got his pieces developed, so he might have a good attack on your king. So if you can swap off the queens, that means you're going to be an endgame and the attack won't be so relevant. So that would be good. Yeah. And if he takes you now, you can recapture with developing moves, so you get your knight back into the game. So maybe queen f3 would have been a little bit better. But anyway, we went bishop e3. He went bishop e7, so he's after your pawn, which possibly doomed. You went queen e7. He took the pawn, and you made a developing move hitting the unprotected bishop, which looks pretty cool. Now, we might need a bit of help here. Max. Hello, Max. Can you hear me? You there, Max? There, Max?
Yeah.
Hi. Are you looking at the position we've got now where White's just played knight f3?
Yep.
All right. Well, the reason I've unmuted you is because you played the obvious move of just moving the bishop back to f6. But maybe you had to move, a more imaginative move. So you're a good attacking player, so we want you to help William and see if you can come up with Rebecca can start thinking to it. Who will William here? What would be a better move that we missed as well? So put your thinking cap on, Max. What attacking move?
Maybe e4.
You could play e4. That would be attacking the knight, but then the knight would take. So you have to have a pretty good attack because you're a piece down.
Oh yeah.
Any other move you could look at?
Maybe bishop e7.
Yeah, that's sort of retreating like William did. William went bishop f6.
You're trying to go to maybe b4.
Knight b4 or something?
No, bishop b4 later on, maybe after b4.
All right. Okay, that's not quite what I had in mind. Thanks for your help anyway, Max. I'll mute you again. Now, Rebecca, did you find anything that might be a bit good for black now?
Maybe d4.
You could play pawn to d4. You'd have to move your bishop, maybe, or be bishop for bishop if you took his bishop. All right. Is there any other really forcing move that black could have done here? I hope the rest of you are thinking. Maybe some of you have seen it. A really good move for black. It has to be a big threat because you're threatening to win a piece. All right, everyone gives up. What if he played knight d4? Now he's attacking your queen and your knight. Okay, so if you play bishop takes knight, terrible things happen. Your queen's pinned on the file. Yuck. All right, and if you take with a knight, you're no longer attacking his bishop, and the bishop's pinned on the file. So it'd be absolute tragedy. So that was a really good move that both sides missed. So this is what I'm talking about. Don't just look at the routine moves or one or two moves. Have a bit of a look around for the spectacular moves that might be sitting there. So William played the obvious bishop f6. Rebecca played the obvious castles, which is a little problem because then d4 is hitting the bishop, and if our bishop goes to d2, queen takes a2 and he's checkmating us on a1 and it's all horrible. So we took the brave decision to stop the checkmate and give up our bishop. Okay, now should we take with the pawn or the queen? What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I thought it was the pawn at first to get a center.
Better pawn structure and everything. Yep.
But then I thought of the queen because then it can control a bit better with all the squares.
Okay, I think I would have taken with the pawn. Would be my preference to try and fix up the pawns. You took with the queen. He played queen e7. All right, and your next move was a3. Tell me why you wanted to play a3.
Because I thought that maybe knight b4 was going to come, and
so let's go back.
At some stage.
So you're worried about him playing knight b4 here?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you then just play a3 and chase him away?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay, so if you can chase him away when he does his threat, it's better not to prevent it. You can make a more useful move somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right. So what's your problem in this position, in this game at the moment? If you're looking at overview.
Maybe my h1 rook might need to be developed.
Worse than that, how's the material going?
Well, I'm down by
You're down by a bishop.
Yeah, down by a bishop.
All right, that's pretty tragic. There's a whole piece down for nothing.
Yeah.
Do you have any compensation? Do you have any good attack or anything going for you? Not really?
Well, I think the rook on h8 stuck there for at least 20 moves or so.
All right, but what I'm trying to get at is if you're in a situation where you're losing because you're down on material, what sort of thing should you be trying to do?
Trying to keep all your good pieces and swap your pawns off, and maybe try and attack and try and
if you could attack and make it difficult for him, that'd be good.
Yeah.
But at the moment you haven't got an attack, so what you should be trying to do is trying to dig in and sort of consolidate your position and make it hard for him to beat you. So for instance, if it was me, I would probably play queen e4. So that stops him pushing up his e-pawn and swapping off more pieces. That helps control b4 a bit. If he moves his knight, he's got to worry that the b-pawn might be unprotected.
Yeah.
So I'd be looking at a move like that maybe. So you went for the a3 move, and then he jumped in knight d4. What should you do here? Should you take him or not take him?
Well, if you don't take him, he's attacking the c2 pawn, maybe queen c5 later on.
Okay, but is that a pawn you can't defend?
No.
Right, so we're not too worried about the c2 pawn attack at the moment then?
And it's also attacking my knight and trying to swap
Yeah,
pieces.
you could do a swap off. Okay. Well, what I'm saying is, So if you're losing on material, what's the rule? We swap off pawns, and if we're winning on material, we swap off pieces. Okay. So if we're using that rule, I would have tried to keep my knight somehow. Probably move it away somewhere. But you went for the swap off, which is against the rule, and that's now sort of improved his pawn position. And the queen and the rook are now on an open file, whereas before they weren't. And now you swapped off the queens. Was that a good idea?
Maybe not, but it was because I didn't really like the thought of the queen and the rook on an open e-file.
Okay, so why don't you like that? Where are they going?
Well, like, as in maybe at some stage, like, try and get down to the first rank.
The first rank? The first rank where you've got two rooks. So you put this queen and you say, thank you very much, and zap it. So is that a real concern? Or are you sort of making an up concern that's not really relevant to the position? Yeah, I think you're sort of making up a bit. So it would have been better maybe say queen f3 or something, keep the queens on, attack his b pawn, something like that. So a bit of a boo-boo, swapping the queens off, because we were scared of what he might do on the file. Then you're still scared, so you challenge the rooks. And he said, you beauty, let's swap the rooks. He went king up there, and basically he just won easily because he's a piece up.
Yeah.
And you've got all weaknesses and nothing to attack and whatever. All right. So where did we go wrong in that game? What can we learn from that game? Start off with the opening.
Maybe try and learn a bit more about that opening.
Yep, so you need to know a little bit of theory, because like when you're playing in adult tournaments, all those, although you were playing William this time, but when you're playing all those old guys, they know a lot of theory. So you need to sort of learn up the first 8 or 10 moves so you're on a level playing field with them. All right. And what about after the opening?
Maybe see some like discovered attacks and stuff. Like
you played a3 because you're sort of worried about something that wasn't really a worry.
Yeah.
You swapped off queens because you're worried about something that wasn't really a worry.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about attacking him when you had no pieces developed and stuff. Yeah. So I get the impression you're sort of thinking about things that perhaps aren't too related to the position sometimes. So you've got to focus exactly what's happening on the position. All right. So let's have a look at the second game, which is against Gareth Mills. This is one of your famous victories. So this should be more fun. Okay, you were white. All right, so off we go. Sicilian. Okay. Bishop c4. Is that the normal move?
I'm not quite sure because I've never really played against it.
You've never played against Sicilian much?
No.
Okay. This is one of the problems with being juniors, is that all the juniors play e4, e5 openings, and it's all boring and they all know it, but they don't know anything else. Whereas all the old people, they play French defence and Sicilian and other things.
Yeah.
So you've got to learn up a few lines. So the normal move is d4 with our old friend the two pawns side by side. So why would bishop c4 perhaps not be quite the best? Did we say move each piece only once, place it on its best square? Yeah. So is that a really good square for the bishop? It's on a good diagonal attacking the weak f7 pawn, isn't it?
It's in a good diagonal, but it can be attacked easily. Like it can be e6 and then d5.
Yeah, so the problem is, if your bishop goes there, he just plays, in a minute, e6, he played knight f6 first, but in a second he's going to play e6, and then your bishop's just looking silly. It's bumping into all those pawns, and he's maybe going to chase it around or something. Yeah. So it's like boo-boo. Now, you chose to castle here. You're not worried about him taking your pawn? Or you didn't notice, or you're doing a gambit, or what?
I don't know. I thought I did knight c3 first.
Or the moves might have been anything back to front, whatever. Anyway, he played e6, knight c3, and he played d5. So he's really putting it to that bishop now. He's saying, I want this centre, and I'm going to force your bishop to move again. You notice how he's got the two pawns side by side, like we talk about?
Yeah.
Okay. So you hit him with a check. He blocked with his knight. And you then played e5. So let's go back here. So you have two options. You could push your pawn up to e5 and force his knight away, or you could swap for the d pawn. Run me through those two. Which do you think might be the better?
I was thinking about both of those, but I thought I take the d5 pawn, he would have a really good center, and I don't.
Yep.
But as I push, I'm stopping the bishop coming to d6.
Yep.
And maybe like it's not powerful, but like it's a piece that can be controlled, like two squares that are like two black squares, and really it's stopping them from doing much.
Okay.
It's forcing the knight away.
Right, it's forcing the knight away, which is true. What worries me is a little bit like a French defence where you haven't got the option of playing c3 to protect your pawns later on. Yeah. Now you're ahead in development here, so let's go back. So were it me, maybe I'd look at taking, and even if he takes, you can put your rook on the file with a check. He plays bishop e7. So while he's got the centre, but then you hit him with d4.
Yeah.
All right, and so then you've got your foothold in the centre, and if he takes, he's got the isolated pawn, and you've got a double attack on the knight on c6 and stuff like that. So in this instance, probably the relevant thing is to say white's a little bit ahead in development, so opening it up might be good.
Okay.
So e5 is okay, but probably d5 might be a smidgen better. All right, so he ran away, he chopped back, d3, that looks all right. g6. I thought that looked a little bit funny because he's weakening his dark squares. So what do you think he's up to?
He wants to put his bishop on g7 so he can castle, but I really don't think the bishop.
You don't think that's a good spot for the bishop?
After it goes there, it can't go anywhere without being taken.
All right. Are you worried about anything in this position?
Not really, because I don't know. He hasn't. I've developed two pieces and.
That is one. So you had on development in your castle. So you played bishop f4. That looks okay. He played bishop a6. All right. What moves would you look at in this position for white? What do your candidate moves think? It's a little bit hard because he's sort of blocked it, and he's got those two pawns side by side that are sort of locking us out a bit. Whoops, hang on. I pressed the wrong button. You actually played knight e2, but what other moves would you have looked at?
Maybe.
Can't remember?
No.
Right, were it me, I'd play rook e1. So why would I play rook e1?
Maybe at later stage I might want to move my bishop, and so I have a second attack as bishop does.
Yeah, well I'm worried about your e-pawn because you've got it protected twice, but he can put bishop g7, queen c7, and he's got it attacked 3 times. So you're going to have another defender. So I would have just played rook e1 straight away, and then we'll solve my options. So why is your knight running to e2? What's the story there? Where's that going?
Because I thought it couldn't really move anywhere
right.
on the queen side, so I wanted to get it to the king side.
To g3?
Yeah.
We're going to go from g3. It's even more stuff that can't go anywhere. Right, so you take 2 moves to move it to somewhere where it can't move anywhere. It doesn't sound very good. Right, so maybe knight e2 is a little bit of a boo-boo. Okay, he goes rook b8, so he's attacking your pawn, so you push it up, that's all fine. He attacks your pawn, but it's defended twice, but he's threatening queen c7 maybe.
Yeah.
So were it me, I'd be playing rook e1 and trying to work out what to do. You hit him with c4, which will be good, so long as you can hang on to your e-pawn. That's the million-dollar question. So now he now poses the million-dollar question with queen c7. All right, so he's attacking your pawn 3 times. It's defended twice. What can we do?
You could do d4.
d4 to defend it again. That's possible, though that's weakening our c-pawn. He might end up taking our c-pawn at some stage. Have we got any other options to look at? We can't really defend it. All right. Is there another move we could look at, assuming he's going to take that pawn, that might set him a little bit of a trap?
Maybe rook e1.
So you went d4. Let's have a look at rook e1. So he would probably take us with a knight.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's see who I can ask this time. Who's paying attention? We'll try Oliver. Hello, Oliver. Can you hear me?
Yes.
How are you today?
Good.
Okay, you've seen the position on the board now?
Yep.
Okay, well, White's got a sneaky tactical move here that probably would be very hard to see over the board, but now that you know there's a good move here, can you think of any move for White that would be worth looking at that might be a sneaky tactic?
Knight. It takes knight.
Yeah, knight takes knight's the obvious one, and then he takes us with the bishop. That's possible. Is there any other move we could look at? He's threatening to take our knight on f3, so we've got to be very careful about that.
Or maybe the pawn would take the pawn. The pawn would take that pawn.
We could swap off the pawns, but then he's going to play knight takes f3 maybe. Anything else, or is that the 2 moves you'd look at?
That's all I can see that's good right now.
All right, thanks very much, Oliver. Okay. Now, Rebecca, can you see any sneaky move for White here? Take in mind the pin of the bishop against the queen.
Maybe knight g3.
Knight g3, maybe. Any other move you'd look at? What do you think about knight d4?
Yeah.
Looks like a daggy move, but if he takes our knight, we can then take his knight. And his queen and rook are online with our bishop. So if he plays bishop takes knight, we've got him.
Yeah.
And we're threatening to move our knight, like knight takes g6. So he's in a bit of a predicament. And if we go back, he doesn't take us, like say he plays knight takes knight here. We might be able to play queen takes knight.
Yeah.
And we're still on his queen and his rook and stuff. So it's quite interesting. So it's like the other game with William, where there's like a hidden tactic that you wouldn't really look at normally,
Yeah.
but if you're trying to be a bit imaginative, you might stumble across it. Anyway, you went for the d4 line. Okay. Chops, chops. Then he said go away, and now we're in a bit of a predicament. Because our e-pawn has to be defended, our c-pawn has to be defended. So you went down here, and he took. So we're a pawn down, just like the William game. He's got 7, we've got 6. All right, I'm going to have a little bit of a poll here. We'll see what people think. So Rebecca's in a bit of a predicament. She's a pawn down, but she's ahead in development, which is good. Her C pawn's under a double attack. So I'll give you 4 moves to look at. Queen F4 is one move. Queen A5 is another move, attacking the bishop and the pawn. Knight G3, getting the knight out of the way is another move, then maybe the rook can hit the queen or something. Or Rook E1, with perhaps a discovered attack coming up on the queen. So, which move do you guys think would be good? So we've got those 4. I'm just going through them again. There's Rook E1, Knight G3, Queen F4, or Queen A5. So have a think. I'll give you 5 more seconds, then I'll launch the poll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So start voting. We're going Rook E1, Knight G3, Queen F4, or Queen A5. So Rook E1's leading, Queen A5's coming second, no one's gone Knight G3, and one person's gone Queen F4. Rook E1's still winning. 5 more seconds and I'll close it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's have a look. So Rook E1, 63%, Knight G3, 0%, Queen F4, 13%, Queen A5, 25%. All right, interesting. Do you remember which move you chose?
No.
Okay. All right. So you're a pawn down. What sort of thing should you be doing?
Maybe trying to
So if like here's another couple of moves. If he gets a chance to castle, play D4, move his rook on a half open file or something like that, he's just a pawn up for nothing.
yeah.
So what should you be doing before he has a chance to do all that?
Maybe trying to attack someone, like making him into a bit of a muddle.
Yeah, try and make it a mess, try and threaten things, try and stir it up a little bit before he gets a chance to consolidate. All right, so Queen A5 is a bit of a stir, attacking the bishop and the pawn. That's not too bad. Knight G3 is fairly horrible because it's not going anywhere. Rook E1 is quite sneaky. For instance, like if we played Rook E1, say if he took us, we could even play a naughty move like Queen H6 to stop him castling. Then we're going to move our knight with discovered attack on his queen. Maybe try and catch his king in the middle somehow. So that's got a couple of prospects. The move you played though was Queen F. What's it doing in here? The move you played was Queen F4. Or maybe I need to go back. Oh, I got the rook on anyway. That's right. Sorry. Okay. Queen F4. All right. Do you remember why you wanted to play Queen F4?
Well, I think I wanted to swap queens, but like if the queen didn't want to take and wanted to take my bishop.
So, but why did you want to swap queens?
I thought it might be like the queen's like very powerful. They're, like it's in the center of the board.
I think it's a bit like the other game. Remember, you were losing. You swap queens. You swap rooks. You know, again, you're losing, so you don't want to swap the big piece. So that's probably a bit of a boo-boo in the decision making. He didn't take. We went F6, which is probably not the greatest. Okay, you put your rook behind the C pawn to defend that, and then he went D4. Probably not the best move now. You went Knight G3 because it's now got a nice square to go to. Castles. Now, here's a pawn up. Who do you reckon is winning now?
I think it's. I think I'm maybe winning a little bit in position.
Why?
Because he's got 2 double pawns on the E file, and his bishop's sort of stuck.
So what could white play here?
94.
You could play knight e4. Even better though. Is there something you can attack?
Rook
Yeah, you can probably.
rook e1.
Yeah, should probably put a rook on e1. Then you're winning that e pawn for nothing. Take that back, and his bishop's sort of sitting offside, bumping into your pawns, and it's probably a bit better for you because you've got all those weak pawns. Okay, so somehow we've salvaged the day. You played knight e4, which is not quite so good. So whether he did that quickly or he just missed the chance to play rook e1, not sure. Anyway, he defended the pawn that was being attacked. You now put a rook on e1, which is cool. He went up there, which was a bit dodgy. You told him to go away.
This was his mistake.
Yeah. This is okay, may not be super best. Is there another move you'd look at?
Maybe knight e6, and then you get the e5 pawn.
Yeah, but his rook would move attacking your knight then. Well, what about f3? What do you think of f3? Why would I want to play f3? It's not attacking anything.
To protect my knight.
But it's protected already. So why would I want to, have a double protection when I don't need it?
Because we might want to move our rook somewhere else.
What I want to do, next move, what would White's next move be? If you had to move now. White, yeah. If you had to move now, what are you threatening? You could play knight f2 to d3, hitting his rook, double attack on the pawn.
Yeah.
You take the pawn, you've got his pass blocked, you're crushing him. But anyway, g3's all right. Now we got a bit lucky here because he went back and you said, you beauty, a fork. So that was cool. You chopped, chopped, chopped. So we've gone from lost game to now where we're winning with exchange up.
Yeah.
And we're attacking two of his pawns at once, even better. Where at me, I'd probably play bishop b7 here now and try and get my bishop into the game. He went rook f5. It's tempting to chop because you're up and swap rooks, but it's also tempting to win that free pawn. Now he made another boo-boo, dropped the bishop back, and you said, thank you very much for the free bishop. Okay, so we're romping it in here. He's trying to do something with his passed pawn, but we've got that one covered. Take his pawn, it's all looking great. Okay, so you rook up, you're crushing him. He's sort of trying to attack with his king or something weird.
Yeah.
What do you think you should be trying to do now?
Maybe trying to, attack his king and make him maybe go into the H file. Or
yeah. His king's sort of getting a bit restricted, so you should be trying to perhaps snare him in a net there somewhere. So you played H4. Probably F4 would be preferable to restrict his rook as well. You hit him with H4. He went up. You went up, so you may be threatening F3 check, which would be pretty nasty. He went rook E5. All right, what should you do here maybe?
During the game I was thinking I want him to move back and so I can attack him.
You want to push him back?
Yeah.
You know what I'd be thinking?
Also attack the rook or something.
I'd be thinking I want to lock him in. Because you've nearly got his king surrounded. So if you're focusing on getting a checkmate, what would be a good move for White here?
Maybe rook f7.
Yeah. Rook f7 looks like the obvious line. Now you're certainly rook f4 mate.
Yeah.
And you've got him all sort of in a pickle. So you might be focusing on slightly the wrong thing. You want to check him back and stuff. Check. He goes back. Now you hit his rook. Rook comes up with check. You wander up. He takes the pawn. You'll go. All right. What should you be doing here? You could play rook takes pawn check with a free pawn, maybe.
Yeah.
Would that be good, or what should you do?
You could either go. You could take the pawn check.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Any other candidate moves or free pawn would check?
Rook D5.
Rook
maybe.
D5 check and force him back some more. Anything else?
Rook F7. maybe.
Rook F7 check. See, the sort of moves you're looking at are always like checks or captures or threats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're not really looking at the sneaky moves, at the planning moves. Remember, we're trying to trap his king.
Yeah.
So how can we restrict his king? Where can his king go now? It can go to E6 or F6, so what would be a better idea?
Maybe Rook C6.
Yeah, we could have played Rook C6. Then we're threatening mate Rook D5 check, and that's pretty hard for him to get out of.
Yeah.
So you could have finished him off if you were just a little bit sneaky about it. But you went for the checks. He went back, he checked him again, checked him again, checking him the next. Now we've got the hang of it. We're getting our rooks at a distance. We swapped off and we won easily.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a sort of interesting game, a little bit up and down. All right, what can we learn from that game?
Maybe, like you said before, find sneaky moves, not just.
Yeah, so I think looking at all your games, I think you're sort of doing basic stuff, like you're swapping pieces, you're checking, you're threatening, but you're not doing so much of the planning stuff where you work out what you're trying to do and maybe do a sneaky way of threatening something 3 moves ahead. You know, you need to put a little bit more thought into the planning rather than just the obvious checking and capturing type moves. And also, when you're losing, you've got to be fully aware you want to try and keep your pieces on, not swap off all those queens all the time. And you have better chances there. But that was a nice comeback, and you finished him off all right. So well done. All right, so thank you for coming in today very much, Rebecca. And next week, I think we have Haran coming in, which I think is probably the last one for this term. So we're looking forward to seeing Haran then. So I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected.